Hey there, crypto traders. Bitcoin bulls are at it again. We've seen very similar patterns over the last 2 weeks. We'll look at what the most important time frame is for me, as well as how the altcoins are faring compared to Big King Bitcoin, still leading the way. Stay tuned. So starting off with the S&P 500, we have the bulls approaching the all-time high. They're in full control. They've got these little daily higher lows, which are keeping them in full control. When those little daily higher lows are lost, we will zoom out and we'll look for a weekly higher low to try and form. And that is where we stand. Overall, bulls keeping in control in the short term. The dollar needs a daily trend change to shift momentum. We have not seen a daily trend change bullish since we topped out. We would have to see 92.13 hold and 93.21 break. If that were to happen, it would definitely be notable for me, and I would be paying a little bit more attention to any signs of weakness that may indicate a temporary top. But if we do not break 93.21, then we have nothing to worry about. So that is the level that I'm watching this week. Can the dollar bulls set the daily higher, change the daily trend, I should say, and set the weekly higher low compared to 91.74? Bitcoin bull break, daily bull flag confirmed, and the consolidation that we saw Friday and Saturday last week, 2 weeks ago, and Friday and Saturday just now, very, very similar. The biggest difference was obviously the size of the pullback, and this is where we saw first hourly oversold conditions, but it got really extended. And that hourly RSI went down to the teens, and it looked unusual, and people were commenting and saying this looks like a news reaction with how much follow through the bears are seeing. And it seemed like this was the market reacting to Biden being declared the winner. Same consolidation, same style of consolidation this past weekend, but without the follow through for the bears. We saw first hourly oversold conditions, and we saw a very nice bounce. That marked our bottom, 15,750, and we actually did drop to a lower low by $40, but essentially a double bottom. And again, first hourly oversold conditions as a back burner trade, and that entry is now giving really nice gains in the short term. One resistance level I am watching, aside from previous price levels, I am watching some trend lines, and it is this one right here which is approaching. I would not be surprised in the slightest to reject from that level. And then we're watching this support line, and it's a bit of a channel. So we bounced off this support a bunch of times. We've rejected from resistance a few times. We are just under it at the moment. If we reject anything above 15,796 is a 4-hour higher low. So bulls have a lot of space to work with to maintain the uptrend. So I'm watching this 4-hour time frame. Where is our resistance from here? We had a level 16,400. Actually make that 17,178. That is the last clear level of resistance before the all-time highs, and that's what we're watching in the short term. I like the 12-hour time frame. So I like the 4-hour time frame for resistance on that line. I like the 12-hour time frame for support. Look at this EMA 12 over the last 2 weeks. Week and a half. Holding that support beautifully. Grinded against it all weekend. Another leg up. When we lose this 12-hour EMA 12 support, it will be a notable momentum shift, and I would assume that we would very likely lose the daily 12-period EMA for the first time in over a month if the 12-hour falls first. It's almost like we can use the 12-hour as a little bit of an earlier signal. Protective bulls are walking stop losses up. 15,700 is our most recent, most important support, knowing that if we were to lose the daily 12-period EMA, we will likely be seeing weekly consolidation. So I will be exiting a chunk of my swing position, which again is larger than I normally have on anytime in the last few years in cryptocurrency, and I will be exiting a large position of that swing on a loss of this 12-hour EMA support and uptrend. I will hold some through weekly consolidation, but I want to free up a lot of cash to be able to buy into that consolidation. So again, keeping a game plan for when we do top out, whether it's now or whether it's at 22,000, we'll have to see, but staying protective and knowing that the environment can change like that, where we can see a bull break and then dump $1,000 and there's your top being set for the next 3 weeks. That can always happen. So just being protective if you don't want to get back these unrealized profits. As far as looking bearish, I personally would not suggest it in this kind of bull momentum. What I would need to see is, a pullback all the way to 16,000 and then maybe looking for a 12-hour lower high for a top fish bear entry or entering bearish on a confirmed 12-hour downtrend. But otherwise, entering bearish in the most bullish market environment for the cryptocurrency space in 3 years is not ideal. Bitcoin dominance, we know the daily chart here often is junk, but we can zoom in and get the details and see the 12-hour uptrend here. Very similar to the US dollar pairing. As long as this 12-hour uptrend remains intact, Bitcoin is Big Daddy lead bull, and anything above 65.08 will keep it that way. You can see we're not breaking the high right now as Bitcoin USD is, so some altcoins are holding on a bit better than where we were last time we were at our high a week, make that a week and a half ago. But again, if we do not lose these 12-hour high or lows, altcoins are not the place to be comparative to Bitcoin. So ETH USD, daily high or low being set, daily 12-period EMA support is holding. We have not confirmed a 4-hour trend change yet, so we know not to get too confident in the bulls until that happens. And the bulls are trying to make their way back up to the recent high at 478.31 to try and see continuation. So in the end, had a game plan for entering ETH, and it went well for one day. We had the daily bull flag confirmed. It looked great. Things are aligning, and it's been nothing but fading since then. Is this a weekly bear flag on ETH BTC? It's absolutely possible. If we drop down and break 2658, yes, a weekly bear flag has then confirmed. So the bears are still in control of the Bitcoin pairing here. And again, as long as that dominance chart is in that 12-hour uptrend, that's going to remain the case. Not a huge difference in terms of choosing ETH on that dip 2 weeks ago versus choosing adding more Bitcoin, but in hindsight, not the follow-through that the altcoin bulls were looking for as far as gaining ground against that Bitcoin dominance. We would have to see ETH BTC hold this 2658 level and break 3018 to see a convincing momentum shift. Link USD, still watching this uptrending resistance line. Got to find the right anchor point for it. So uptrending resistance line, there's plenty of space before that would come back into play. And as far as the support line, we broke out of it. We're still paying attention to. Normally, breaking below this support line, I would just disregard it and say, all right, it's invalidated and I no longer care about it. But we are bouncing off of it again. Another attempt here. So I'm going to keep it up and watch this channel on Link USD. The big picture, most likely scenario for Link. Let's just go to the 2-week time frame to smooth it out. What do you expect is the most likely scenario here? If you have experience with technical analysis and cryptocurrency, you're watching for a lower high compared to $20, and you know that when this amount of range is created, the most likely scenario is an equilibrium and tightening range over a long period of time. That's what we're watching for on Link USD, and in my opinion, we would have to see the cryptocurrency space as a whole see weekly consolidation for that lower high to be set. So there's no signs of that lower high being set compared to $20. We just know in the back of our minds that is the more likely scenario in terms of what is most likely to play out. BNB USDT. So look at the range of this candle on November 7th, and we've traded within that range for 9 days in a row now. This is the least volatile that Binance has been since we started this bull break in July. So that is 4 months, 3.5 months, where this is the least amount of volatility. So what does that tell us? That tells us watch for a volume and volatility spike in the short term. I'm watching the range of this candle, 2685 to 2990. We're coming down close to this support. Bulls are trying to hold it. And as far as the bigger picture, that has to break bullish for our weekly equilibrium to continue shaping up. We've got our high, low, lower high, Bulls are hoping this is our high or low, but this inside bar has to break bullish, which means this resistance level, these little lower highs have to break bullish for that weekly high or low to be set, and then we'll be looking back up at 32.38 resistance to continue tightening this equilibrium. So keeping an eye out for a bullish lean, and this is the kind of scenario where, you could say, you could make a bullish entry. Well, I'm not even going to get into that. I don't really like the risk to reward here. If we were closer to 25.74, that would be different, but it's, 8% away from that support level. So at this point, I would probably want to wait till it's either a closer play off that support or until this weekly time frame continues to tighten up for another month or so, if that indeed does happen. YFI USDT has given some great opportunities for entries off support on the 4-hour time frame. I think the last video that we did and we looked at it, we were looking for this higher low right here. We formed it. We then rejected from resistance with a triple top, came down, held support again. So these are the kind of risk to reward scenarios that I like. $16,084 is our must hold support. We're pulling back towards it. And if I'm starting to scale in a couple entries, my risk is $500, let's say. I'm not going to nail the bottom, so let's call it $600 of risk. If I were going to stop out on 6,000 breaking, let's call it $700 of risk. And now what's the reward? Thousands of dollars. So over 2,000. So there is your 3 times reward versus the risk. We broke the double top here, but we did not break 19,350. So bulls are a little bit cautious until that level breaks. We know that when we're in an equilibrium, we want all of our resistance levels to break as soon as possible to give the confidence and follow through. So another 4-hour high or low is trying to be set very quickly at 17,700, but we do need to see 19,350 break from here for follow through. Daily bull flag is trying to confirm, and that level has to break for it to confirm. Again, we're looking for a weekly lower high, bigger picture. That could form at 19,000. That could form at 28,000. It's just something to keep in the back of our mind. We know a weekly lower high is the most likely scenario. We have to be keeping an eye out for it, even though there's no sign of it at the moment. LTC, nice bull break. We had a potential rising wedge that ended up breaking bullish. And it was these levels. So nice bull break. Now daily trend, uptrend continues. Daily high or low was 61.08. Clear bull break of $69. Monthly trend change is confirmed. We were watching this monthly equilibrium for a few months now. Now LTC is playing laggard. The question is, how much laggard can we see? How much follow through? 84.50 is the most important resistance level from here. You can see a lack of resistance until we get up to that level. And what's more important to me than what the US dollar pairing is doing is what is the LTC BTC pairing doing. It's a daily falling wedge that is breaking bullish. We just confirmed the daily trend bullish for the first time in a while. We have to see where this candle closes, of course. But this is the start of a bull break. Then we zoom out to the monthly. And on this monthly chart, we are watching an even longer term falling wedge. And this won't come into play for a long time. You know, this is over 50% higher than where we stand right now. I'm watching the monthly EMA 12 resistance as well, which rejected an attempt. As far as the weekly chart is concerned, anything under 46.1 is just a weekly lower high. So again, this is just baby step one of a longer term shift in momentum. And now we have to see these bulls follow through on all these time frames. We got the daily, so now we need a weekly trend change. And then we need a monthly trend change on this Bitcoin pairing. Otherwise, Bitcoin will remain the place to be. But as far as the past day, LTC gains bigger than Bitcoin gains. I do have some long-term no-touch LTC that we received as payment for courses and such. So it'd be nice if it played a little catch-up. I have no plans on entering any Litecoin short-term swings or anything like that. That's that. XRP BTC. So I stopped covering XRP because it was clearly the weakest major altcoin out of anybody that we covered for years. That being said, I'm not going to be biased against it because it's a similar falling wedge as well on the bigger picture. This weekly bounce is doing nothing right now. So an overly optimistic bull is going to look at this and say, look at how much space we have to the upside. And myself, not caring at all whether it goes up or down, is going to look at this and say, the bulls have proved absolutely nothing to me. Again, that being said, you can make the argument that this is a long-term falling wedge, and that's the case. It is. So it's worth paying attention to, but I personally, very, very picky. This is the kind of scenario where you can't give the bulls any benefit of the doubt. I would much prefer to miss a weekly bounce and say, wow, that was a nice big weekly bounce, and then look for the weekly high or low. The bulls have to prove that initial weekly bounce to me if it's going to get any attention. So that's where we stand. Bitcoin, are we still up near the high? We are. 16,800 is right about where that 4-hour uptrending resistance line was lining up. Walk your stop losses up if that is your game plan. And congrats to the bulls. Highest price of 2020. And again, as long as the S&P 500 bulls are staying in complete control, we're going to look for cryptocurrency too as well. And always watching for clues in these different bullish sectors. Have a good rest of your day. Hope you had a good weekend. Do good things. And we will see you very soon. They're having a meeting. A little bit of a power shuffle going on. Somebody call the police. Help me. I'm surrounded. We're gonna sneak up on them. If I ever end up bankrupt, it won't be because I blew up my account. It'll be from feeding turkeys.